The moment Daniel stepped into the reunion hall, carrying the quiet weight of years he never complained about, his past rose up to meet him in the cruelest way possible, because standing beneath the glowing chandelier was the woman who once left him broken, smiling as if she had won everything, ready to remind him in front of everyone exactly where she believed he belonged. Before the story unfolds further, take a second to like this video, share it with someone who believes in kindness and second chances, drop a comment, and subscribe to Bright Hearts if you believe that no one's worth is defined by their worst season. The reunion was meant to be harmless, a simple gathering of familiar faces from another lifetime, but for Daniel it felt like stepping into a courtroom where the verdict had already been decided. He adjusted the worn cuffs of his only blazer, the one he saved for parent-teacher meetings and job interviews, and reminded himself why he came. It wasn't to prove anything. It wasn't to impress anyone. It was because his daughter had asked him once what his life was like before her, and he realized he didn't want her to grow up thinking her father was ashamed of his past. Daniel had been a promising man once, ambitious, kind, steady, the kind of person teachers praised and friends leaned on. Life didn't erase that man, it only buried him under responsibility, loss, and quiet sacrifice. Across the room, his ex-wife moved like a spotlight followed her everywhere. She wore success like armor, laughter like a weapon, and confidence sharpened by years of believing she had made the right choice leaving him. She had remarried well, climbed socially, and never missed an opportunity to remind others that she had escaped a life she considered small. When her eyes landed on Daniel, the smile that formed wasn't warm or surprised. It was measured, intentional, and filled with memory. She approached him with the ease of someone who expected an audience, and within moments, attention gathered naturally, drawn by her energy and his silence. She humiliated him without raising her voice, without touching him, without even appearing cruel to anyone who didn't know the history. She spoke about success, about ambition, about how some people never move forward, and her eyes never left him. She mentioned single parents who wasted potential, men who settled for less, lives that shrank instead of expanding. Laughter rippled around them, light and careless, and Daniel felt each sound land on him like a small stone. He stood there, nodding politely, hands clasped, thinking of early mornings packing lunches, late nights working overtime, birthdays celebrated quietly, and dreams postponed indefinitely. He thought of the nights he fell asleep sitting upright on a couch so he wouldn't miss a fevered breath from the next room. What hurt wasn't the insult itself. It was how familiar it felt. He had been invisible for so long that being seen, even cruelly, felt like a reminder of how easily people dismissed quiet endurance. He considered leaving. He could already imagine the relief of fresh air, the safety of anonymity. But something inside him, something small and stubborn, refused to retreat again. He stayed, not out of pride, but because for once he wanted to survive the moment without running from it. The room shifted without warning. Conversations paused. Heads turned. A presence entered that felt different, not loud or demanding, but steady in a way that changed the temperature of the space. A woman stepped inside with composed confidence, dressed simply yet unmistakably elegant, her posture calm, her gaze observant. She didn't seek attention, but attention found her anyway. People recognized her, whispers spreading quickly, disbelief mixing with curiosity. She was known beyond the room, beyond the city, as a self-made billionaire whose name appeared in business headlines and philanthropic foundations alike. She scanned the room not as a judge but as someone searching for something familiar. Her eyes stopped on Daniel, and for a moment, the noise seemed to dull. She walked toward him with intention, ignoring the subtle tension around him, and stood beside him as though that was exactly where she belonged. The shift was immediate and undeniable. The ex-wife's confident posture faltered slightly, confusion breaking through the practiced smile. The audience leaned closer, sensing a turn they hadn't expected. The woman acknowledged Daniel not with spectacle, but with respect. She spoke of character, of integrity, of the quiet strength required to choose responsibility when no one applauds. She referenced a man who once stayed late to help a struggling colleague when it cost him an opportunity, a man who turned down shortcuts because they compromised his values, a man who walked away from bitterness to raise a child with patience and dignity.